Hello, y'all. Recently I have been, well, this has been occurring for a little while for me. I've had dreams about people I know and people I don't know, their deceased relatives. And this has happened a few times in people I'm either connected to or I have a very small connection with. And the small connection ones are really interesting because they've come in, and in one space it came into the first person narrative where I was essentially the deceased person communicating with their loved ones, which that one was super creepy. I've had others where they're just coming in and they talk and they say something and I always hit what they say. I've had others that just are there and watching, and I didn't know that they were connected to somebody. And so I've had all these hits, and last week I had I had a dream in which two people that were deceased relatives of people that I know or have an acquaintance with came into one dream. And so I thought it would be really an interesting reading since I don't tap into that realm very often and I do feel slightly connected to it. I don't honestly know what all I believe in that space. It's really difficult to decipher, especially in today's world, because there's a lot of information kind of telling us that there's something wrong with us, or you know what I mean, or that our dreams mean nothing. And I just don't personally subscribe to that. I think our dreams really do have messages that are really valid and important. And it was around the same time that I was getting hits to come back to the space in which these things began occurring again. And so I thought today that what we would do is seen and unseen energy around you. And so this is what the energy is existing in sort of your 3D reality, and then what kind of energy there is in the 5D reality. And in the 5D reality, how I'm going to lay it out is it doesn't have to be deceased loved ones per se. It can be people who are thinking about you and things like that. So yeah, I will say that there is one of these piles that has a lot more energy in it than the others, and I wasn't anticipating it. I had said to bring out 4, and I got that for group 1 and group 2, or sorry, group 1 and group 3, but group 2 has a lot of energy in it. So if you're tapping into the group 2 space, I think this is going to be a pretty meaty read. And if you're kind of teetering between some of these, and 2 is one that you're teetering from, I would tap into this. I don't know exactly what we're going to talk about yet in that space, but I know it has the most cards that came out for when I was shuffling. So, all right, let's go ahead and move into this. We have group 1, group 2, and group 3. I'll let you take a second to look at those. Pause the video if you must. I might spray some Palo Santo. All right, I'm gonna take these out. We will give this a little bit of a spray. And let's go ahead and group 1 and tap into the energy that is in your reading. I think what I'm gonna do actually is bust out also the Wild Unknown. Oh my gosh, it's been a while since I've said these. Wild Unknown archetype and the Citadel Oracle as well, to kind of get a good read on the energy in this space. So we'll just kind of set those aside for now. How y'all doing? Group 1. It's if you're not new here, it's been a while since I've been back on YouTube, so I'm really kind of getting my bearings and doing these readings again for you. But let's go ahead and dive right into this on what is the energy going on around you. You have the unicorn, the rabbit, the scorpion, and the frog. When I saw this card, the rabbit card, I heard, "Oh, rabbit." I feel like there is an energy. This one, you know, it's interesting. The rabbit card was like, I want some attention, please. So there is an energy around you that I think is trying to get your attention. And this could actually exist in multiple spaces, because I'm seeing it kind of like being what is it called when it's like a group? I don't know, a pack of, I don't know how it's, what the terminology is for a group of rabbits. But it does seem like there is a lot of interest in you, or a lot of people who maybe want your attention or are trying to get your attention, or are kind of just like in your energy a little bit, peeking in on you. I don't necessarily feel like it's, this is like a 5D. In fact, the 5D is more so this unicorn card. But the rabbit space is like, there's just energies that they really instantly want attention, because as soon as I pull them out, it's the very first one that's like, hello, hello, hello. And it's like, it's what's interesting too is, right, as I just got that Alice in Wonderland analogy again, where he's like, no time to say hello, goodbye, I'm late, I'm late, I'm late. So it's like, yeah, I think this could exist in a bit of a duality, where you have energy that really wants your attention, but it's like also energy who wants to get your attention and then have you chase them. I'm gonna pull out some other energy cards really quick before we get into all of the energy that is around you. That's a lot. Let's do one at a time, please. Tango, apocalyptical. You have apocalypsis come out. Kind of like breaking down old habits, old way of thinking. I think you are stepping into a transformative era. You've probably already been kind of on that journey. We have the heart and the thread coming out. We'll keep it at that. And really, you know, you could be even holding on by a thread. Hey, if you're not new here, do you like that I busted out the old look? Okay, and then just do a couple from the Citadel Oracle. Ooh, the Gambler and the Assassin. And on the bottom of the deck, you have the Tailor, which I think I'll bring out as well. Okay. Let me just see if you can see all that. And we will do a tarot reading for you as well at the end. Kind of just, of course not. Let's see if we kind of do that. Will that work? That should be good. Okay. Let's do it that way. Okay. So again, moving back into this rabbit space, there is energy around you that is, it's like existing in two dualities. There are some that are kind of just, I'm literally seeing like a bunny rabbit, like with their hands up on something, kind of peeking in on you. Like, hello, I'm here. I want your attention. And then the other one is in line with seeing the rabbit from Alice in Wonderland, like running away from you. And then Alice is just super curious then about like the energy that is constantly running away. You could be more in line and feel a little bit more into like a curiosity as your own energy, where you are curious by things that maybe pose as an enigma to you, or that seem to kind of pique your interest because of their, you know, a little off kilter, or they behave a certain way. Or you may just be somebody who pursues or chases, just in your innate way of being, just kind of moving. For some reason, I was pulled to look at this gambling card. It's like you may be somebody who takes the risk, honestly, and is comfortable with that. So that could be energy that is existing also within you. I'm going to save the unicorn for last, because this is coming through in a grouping, and it's definitely the 5D. So let's go into the scorpion and the frog. for some of you, the scorpion and the frog is one person and their duality on how they view a situation with you. For others of you, it's like two people, but they kind of operate in a systematic way where they operate very similarly. So you could maybe be dealing with someone and they remind you of this other person, and it could be somebody that like you grew up with, and then you're reminded of this person in the present, which would make sense because we tend to connect in with connections that we built in early childhood tend to be reflected back to us later in life, so that might not be too bizarre to exist in this space. This energy is okay, so it comes through like it's like a mask, but it presents like like their nose in the air kind of thing, that like it's almost okay. So it's coming in like you see this situation as this person thinking that they are better than you, and their behavior presents as though they think that they are better than you. I'm being advised to inform you that this like scorpion energy, now we already know on the Scorpio pathway that the scorpion is actually the lowest of that journey. So if they're in that energy, they're in the sort of infant steps of understanding that their journey in the Scorpio space. But anyway, so it's presenting to you like there's this like tough exterior, this whole cold-heartedness, this like I could care less thing, but actually like underneath that it's like they care a lot, and it's just this absence of being able to express it. But it's a pride thing too. There's a lot of pride existing in the frog and the scorpion, where it's like they would rather what's interesting is they operate very similarly, but like one is you know, the thing about the Scorpio and the scorpion is it'll come in and kind of just throw a dagger at you and then run away and hide, you know? So it's like it can be pushed, but it'll kind of like, you know, stab you with something piercing, like an insult or some kind of aggression, right? That'll come from this person. And then they'll kind of back off and run away from it like it didn't happen. And then really they'll just kind of sit and wallow in that. But I think it's more so for a lot of the people existing in this space is like there's not an awareness there. So they're wallowing in the response to their actions, but not owning the action itself, and understanding that why they ended up in that situation was a response to the thing that they were experiencing. Now for some of you as well, this scorpion thing here is also your energy when you are backed into a corner and you are in this space of you know, kind of fighting. I really don't see the scorpion energy as a fight response personally. I would actually argue that Scorpio energy is often a flight response, just from my dealing with the scorpion energy myself. And also having a Scorpio moon, where I think it takes a lot to come out, like to get me to come out and throw a dagger, you know. And I already have not to talk about myself here, but it's like your rising sign kind of is more representative of how you would maybe behave in most situations, and then your sun sign is sort of the center of that. So I'm a Taurus sun, my rising sign is a Gemini. If you don't know yours, then you can kind of understand where your placements are and how you're going to behave. So how you're going to present to the world is really going to exist in the first house, which is your rising sign. So, you know, so, okay, so if you happen to have a Gemini rising or a Taurus sun, you're really not going to be someone who's just like guns blazing. Like there's a purpose, and a lot of that is match vibe energy. So the scorpion is kind of buried in that. But anyway, I don't know what your placements are. We can get into that a little bit. I don't know a whole lot about astrology. Not gonna even sit here and pretend that I do, because I do not. So those are the kind of energies here, is that they kind of they wallow, they have a little bit of self-pity, they have quite a bit of pride, and they And I think these energies here, the scorpion and the frog, some of them are, again, the same person, but it's draining, right? It's like they bring you down a bit, and they could even put you in that rabbit space yourself and being sort of like peeking in, or where you would kind of end up being the one that's holding a lot of emotional burden, because you know, if you're somebody who's able to take risks and to pursue, if you're in this space, then you're probably going to be the one that's a little bit more confident in communication. Okay, moving into again, okay, you know what? Let's do the unicorn at the very last, okay? I just saw y'all like hands like this. Like, okay, there's something in your energy that is waiting for their moment to shine in this reading. Okay, so we'll just say that. I'm going down to the assassin and the tailor. The assassin in this space, I really do feel like is, it's hard to say here. I feel like there is it's weird how it's coming in, because it's like showing like black and white, where it's like there are people that operate this way towards you. There are people who think that you operate this way towards them. So it's like showing, oh, okay. So I just saw like, what is that character from? Oh my gosh, like The Nightmare Before Christmas, the mayor, where his face switches. Okay, so you may have someone around you that it's like, okay, wow, like all the things I'm seeing. Okay, so I just got that like mask on, mask off, mask on, mask off. I don't think this is just the people that are dealing with you. I think this is also how you are perceived in some spaces. Okay, because it is like it's like quid pro quo, kind of how it's coming in. This is a really strange card here. Like, I know that I'm being shown like images and stuff, but I'm not like really understanding the card so much. Let's see if I can get maybe an energy read. Let's go with the Citadel and kind of clarify that assassin card a little bit. So I do think it's like, the mask here is more like, okay, so for some people it's like, what do you have here? Awareness and reflection. Put that over. This is the, I don't want to cover that up. Okay, this is kind of clarifying this, and this is interesting because, okay, I love when tarot does this shit, man. Sorry, I swore. Okay, so when I was first looking at this card, I kept looking at the third eye because I knew there was something like not seen in this, and it was like trying to decipher how it was supposed to be explained to me. And then it came in, and it seemed like how it's like, this is kind of like the zoomed out version, and then they zoomed in on the third eye. Like, this is something that there's something we're not seeing. Some kind of awareness that is missing in the interactions that we have around us. Something it's like there are people operating with you that, and it's kind of in this energy too, that are sort of, they could be very aware of like how their behavior impacts you. And so, okay, this card is so weird, y'all. But okay, so I just saw someone like putting their hands, like head in their hands, and kind of like in despair, like kind of crying or upset. It's like there's some guilt around that, and I think that's what you're maybe not seeing, is the guilt that might be existing in a space of how people treated you. I think there may be some people that are waking up to that and now kind of feeling bad about it. Now, interesting, like I feel like there are some people who have operated with you through pride, through just not wanting to admit when they are wrong, or that they might be wrong about a situation or a scenario or something in line with that. But also, it's really important here because I think that you have also been taking reins into your own life with this tailor. You see those scissors against that red string there. Actually, this red thread is throughout this reading here, here, and here. This is somehow connected to this. I just want to say that because I just got a major hit of, like, I mentioned this red thread. I have a friend who actually associates a red thread with her father. And then, like, I just now picked up these connections here, and there's something in this space. So some kind of connection to the unicorn is existing in this red thread. I don't know if that means something to you, but we'll get into it once we, again, the unicorn space is really patiently waiting right now. So, but you have cut off some energies in your life that just really, it's like because they were moving from this, it's so like, again, everything in this, there's a lot of duality here. Look at these two. These two are hands. This is black, this is white. You see that? See the synchronicities here, where these hands are in one space. This is all taking risk. This is all in a light space. It's like a balancing act here a little bit, right? But the crazy thing is that it's at all of these things that you're existing. It's like the people that you are dealing with are a reflection of the things within you, and you are reflecting back to them things that they need to work on with self. And it's like this reciprocity that is existing in this space, because the attention to detail here, I feel like, is on your side, and the information that you've been dealing with is pride. I don't think, I mean, obviously we all have pride, but I think that much of the reason that these energies are actually dealing with this is because of a lack of accountability, which I would argue has a lot to do with the absence or with the presence of being too prideful. And then you are sort of severing those relationships where they don't work, they don't collaborate, they don't work with you. And this is kind of creating this scenario within you where then you're kind of being very, very focused on the details of how a situation makes you feel. Here, then, you have like loss and risks. And I feel like, again, it's that duality again, where you are taking the risk, and then there's severings going on here in this space. A very new beginning energy. And I think that there are some people that have, like, there's some, all of this over here, kind of like, here's this side here. This is black and white, it's really, and this is sort of connecting energy. You have this, there's a lot of what's existing in this space is empathy and compassion and all of those heart space things that need opened up. I always see this heart space as being really closed off because it's all closed in right here. But over here you have these situations that are really hanging on by a thread, or they had been hanging on by a thread, or there was like a loose, it was just something that was not really working here, and we were kind of, so the red thread is like presentative in this anyway as like faith, and having faith in these things, and hope and belief, and it's just like I'm seeing like praying hands, like just wanting this to kind of move into fruition in a way that feels a little bit more balanced. However, I don't think that's really been the reality for you. And so now we're in this space of like this new beginning. This is sort of, but it's more so, it's a breaking down. So it's kind of like a rebirth more so, and being in this energy of like, how do I, okay, like if you've ever been through the journey of like really sitting through something that caused you a lot of pain, what happens is there's like a breakdown of how you used to view things and how you view them after you experience that, because it's a total shift in awareness, and you end up just inadvertently behaving so much different because you see things in a way that you now cannot unsee, because you sat through something very painful and chose to understand it. And so I feel like that's something that you're going through, is being like in this space of really connecting in with self and really honoring self and honoring the things that you are learning and going through this transformation process. This is like, it's all the makings of like an ascension journey, kind of. I literally don't know what where I'm going with this. Okay, we're gonna get into, I know that unicorn is over there waiting to be heard, and we're gonna get into that. But I'm going to light another one of these little incense, because if we're gonna tap into that energy, I want to make sure that we're making sure we clear the energy here. So there's quite a grouping in that unicorn space, including this concept of a higher self. Okay. Going into the unicorn energy, the first thing that I just heard was birds flying high, you know how I feel. I also drug out this feather with me when I was when I pulled out that candle here to dump those ashes in. Something I want to bring your attention to is that I had these two cards that had came out that were somehow connected to these readings. And you have the butterfly and the dragon. Just now I had this hit to kind of pull these out as well, because I think they're related into your unicorn space here. The unicorn energy is like, again, it's like very patient energy. Okay, so I just saw Charlie's Angels. So there may be 3 prominent energies that are in the 5D space. I think there's, okay, so there may actually be more than that, because I just saw it kind of expand out, but I think there are 3 main energies that are existing in your space. This would be, there's like character wise, I'm not going to get into feminine or masculine. I'm actually really being kind of advised to invite you to understand that femininity, like feminine and masculine in that space, is irrelevant. It's not really, it's kind of a 3D thing. At least that's how I'm seeing it. And so this energy that is existing then in around you, that is in this sort of 5D space, is it is like somebody who's like really, it's like you have these two energies in particular that kind of feed off of each other. Like one is sort of the strict tell it like it is, no holds bar. There's a background character. Okay. Oh my gosh. Hold up. Like this is too much information at once. There's a 4th person in this. There's a 4th energy, excuse me, that is in this, but they kind of sit on the background. Okay. This is so weird. Okay. So going back into the, okay, here's the thing, is that these 2 energies, this like one that's very like straightforward, strict, and is going to put their foot down, is going to say things that they're not going to sugarcoat. Okay. They're competing sort of in this space of thinking. There's another one that's very funny. It's like okay, so it's coming in like they'll slap you with something that is like a hard truth, and then they'll cushion it with something funny. It's giving very Archangel Michael vibes, if I'm gonna be so open about it. Because I don't, okay, just to pause really quick, like I don't really like to talk about the spirit realm, because I know it's like a weird topic for a lot of people, or even tapping into any of this kind of stuff, because I feel like so much of it is like you don't know really what's real and what's not, and you don't know if you're just crazy. So it's really difficult for me in particular to kind of go into this, but whatever. So these 2 are competing sort of in their, they think they are, I guess, the main sources in there. But this background character is also a main character. And they're not in like, okay, so the third space, sorry. I'm sorry I'm just so all over this place, because that's how it is being presented to me, is literally all over the place. The other space there is like your higher self in this. So those three are kind of in this space. There's a fourth character in the background that is prominent, but also just kind of like it doesn't, it's, this energy steps in when they need to, and they're more about finding neutrality in this a little bit. There's something in this energy too where they're not really in agreement with. There's something that this energy is not necessarily in agreement with, but the other energies are sort of like really pushing that something that you're experiencing in your 3D is like exactly what you need to be experiencing. And it's the fourth energy is really being in this sort of in this mindset that is like, I think they understand that it's necessary, but it's also like, how do I even, they don't like it. I just know that, okay? They don't like what's going on. There's something going on in your 3D that they're just not on board with. They are not super on board with how it's playing out. And then the other energies are like, nope, this is exactly what needs to happen. And they're all kind of like in it. They're like, these guys are locked in arms, and there's one that's just like, kind of just like on the outskirts, kind of just seeing what happens, but not really like this is not a team effort in some capacity. This is so weird. Sometimes I don't know what I'm talking about. I hope this resonates with somebody, because I feel very lost right now. Let me get a drink of water. I'm also being advised to like, it's interesting because I had told group 2 that they had a lot of energy, but in this unicorn card, there's a lot of energy just in the unicorn card. These ones are very simple cards. This one is very complex. There's a lot going on in that energy, because it's not like it isn't just like these 4 characters here, right? It's a gathering of characters. It is a lot of energy. It just in that unicorn space. It's sort of like a collective even, which would make sense. I mean, we are a collective as one, okay? But there are like key players in this collective that is in this unicorn space, and that is how they present in behavior. One is very quiet and in the sidelines, and is now what's interesting though about the one that's in the sidelines is I actually think you may have had, okay, if you have someone who's like passed on, who has this sort of personality, then you've actually had more interactions with this person than you would, because they're showing me somebody that I know that is passed on, and this would be my experience, so I'm just relating it to that, is that even if these other key players are maybe more prominent and kind of in the day-to-day dealings, this one has communicated with you more in the 5D. So that would be dreams or things like that, or you maybe see little synchronicities of this person, and they would be someone who isn't going to necessarily, they're not going to step in unless they feel they need to step in, and then they will come in, and they're kind of like, not like, they don't have a whole lot of words, but when they speak, you are definitely going to listen, because they don't communicate that often. So when they do, it's very like you're gonna listen to them. And I would say that this is one that you have some kind of, there's some sort of connection in with that one in particular, that even though they're in the sidelines, and even though they're in the background, you have a lot of hits with this particular person, where they would be like, for me in particular, okay, I know someone just like this that has passed on, and so what I have experienced is that there's been like several dreams of this person, in particular, like dreams is huge, really, where they're kind of in the forefront. And then if I would think of like other people I've just seen, like that I know that are deceased, I don't really dream about them hardly ever. They're not often in there, but this one is in there quite a bit. So it could be, you know, feathers, even if you have like feathers, butterflies is something that I just picked up. The red string, I know some people have, like I know someone that has attachment to that. That maybe that would be something, is like these little hits of like, hey, I'm here, like some kind of something that you would associate with this person, that you would consider like them being present, is like confirmation of that in some capacity, because they may not, it's like they may not present for you how things are presented for me. So I'm kind of being advised like, hey, it could be these little like trinkets and little like ways of kind of acknowledging their presence. But in terms of like being sort of in your day-to-day dealings, they're not really, it's like this person is just there to love you, kind of, you know. It's like they're there to care about you, and in fact, I would say that there are some things that are going on in your 3D that they may not be 100% on board with, or be like they're just not really feeling that, I guess. Whereas the others, again, it's like there is something in that energy that is like, this is supposed to be happening. Whatever is going on is like, it's kind of like, it's like this, it's like group one, you are right where you need to be. Honestly, it's a lot of transformative energy, and it's like you are kind of like building this thick skin here. Okay, let me take out all this energy, see if I can get you just a general reading on maybe what the advice is from the energy around you. I really hope that that makes sense, because sometimes it's hard to trust your own intuition in tarot. I can tell you that. Like, it's really, you know, it's like you feel like it's like your imagination or something, you know? And so trusting that is like, trusting your own intuition is just it's a beast to tackle. I can tell you that. Let's do standard, Rider Waite, for this. Do you have a message here? Let's see if the energy has a, okay. Instantly falling out is, okay. There is a situation surrounding sort of a scarcity mindset. So Earth energy, Taurus energy. I also feel sometimes like this is you, okay, like I feel like sometimes this is energy that hangs on when it's time to let go. I heard bingo. Okay, sorry. But also, this could be a little bit too about putting yourself in a space where you are, what do I want to say? Isolating yourself, dealing with some of the things that you've been going on. Tower is on the bottom of the deck, as well as the Two of Cups and the Ten of Cups. Let's see if I can get one more to call out for you. We'll move these up, actually. I'll fix it in a second. It's like you're in this space of really kind of getting things in order. Spending is coming up here. It's like isolating yourself, not really wanting to admit something. Okay, hold on. It's like some kind of burden going on. Some kind of, also the Seven of Cups on the bottom of the deck. Okay. Let's see what you have going on, what they want to tell you, or what the message is in this space. Okay, so it's more so like you're focused. It's like they want you to focus less on this idea that something's gonna work in the way that you want it to. It's not necessarily even that. It's like you have other shit to deal with right now other than worrying about some okay, hold on. I felt like okay, my grandmother had a really specific way of communicating when she was in the 3D, and I got presented this moment. Okay, so just a glimpse into my childhood. When I was young, I liked this guy that my grandmother did not like, and he came to the door one time because he lived in the town that she lived in, and he came over once. She answered the door and she was like, Crystal, goofball's here, like right in front of his face. And I was like, oh my God. And I came down and he's like, did your grandmother just call me goofball? And I'm like, she sure did. She made sure that I knew that she did not like you. I'll never forget how like hilarious I thought that was. I mean, like, it probably wasn't great for him to endure, but anyway, that's how it's presented, as like you're focused on this goofball. And there's bigger fish to fry. It's like you're neglecting something right now that really needs your attention, and it's like you're just gonna have to cut your losses here in this situation and deal with what you need to get done. Like there's it's almost like this has become the crutch for things that you're avoiding dealing with in yourself. And this doesn't have to be financial loss even. It's like insecurity just popped up. Thank you. Things that make you feel insecure, body image, I mean, all kinds of things that could make us feel insecure if we are going through any kind of struggle within finances, or we're going in through struggle in having a connection with our body. So this is really inviting you to like cut out the bullshit that you're not really intended right now to be worried on your love life. You're supposed to be worried about you know, building this relationship that you have with yourself, and you're kind of being invited to move into being persistent in pursuing this, staying strong through it, and kind of actually, like, if you've been in a space where you're maybe dating around or wanting to date or wanting to put yourself out there, spirit is really in this position right now. It's like it's just not the right time. You are, in fact, it's more so like you're prolonging the inevitable, where you are going to be in the space with a 10 of Cups energy, and it's going to be equal give and take, and there's going to be a moment where it all kind of is like boom, you know, like you're going to just understand it all. And it's kind of inviting you, it's like the more that you focus on this and these sort of energies, especially, okay, I'm being called back to the Scorpion, energy, and that frog energy is like the more that you worry about this and try to, okay, so here's the rabbit coming in, right? And chasing these energies. And it's not necessarily chasing in a way that is like, you know, pursuit. It's more like seeking validation from these energies who consistently invalidate you. It's like they're not giving you, they are giving to you that they don't want to work with you. They don't want to collaborate with you. And I think it's just moving into an acceptance in that space. Because once you then work on it, you're going to see like all of the possibilities that you have in front of you, because you chose to really sever yourself from dwelling on this, and then finding a way to actually take that energy that you expend on these people and in these situations and use that energy to build upon the relationship that you have with yourself, and then you'll be ready to seek commitment. Whew. Yeah. All right. Group 1. I feel like, how long was that? Hello, group 1. Group 2. Oh my goodness. I am all discombobulated, y'all. I just in the group 1 space, I thought that I wasn't recording, and y'all, I hit stop I literally pushed stop on the record thing, and I still thought I wasn't recording. And then after it shut off, I was like, dude, like, I'm rusty, okay? We're rusty. Although I do think that the group 1 space was pretty decent. So you, group 2, have a lot of energy in your reading, so we're going to actually just start pulling out stuff right away. How y'all doing? Oh my gosh, the energy around you, baby. What have you been up to? You've been getting into some trouble, I think. You have a lot of energy around you. Okay, let's move in. Let me get a couple from the, what is this deck called? Wild Unknown Archetype? This one was here. Bleed me an ocean. All right, let's see. What do you have going on? And then really quick, I'm going to go into, you know, I think that these are just kind of zoomed out, like, you know, because this is the spider web, this is the tarantula. I'm going to just group these up just to give us a little bit more space. Okay, and then we'll do the Citadel Oracle. Before we tap into energies that you have existing in your energy, there's a lot of higher self energy coming into your reading, but there's a lot of just really not great energy, honestly. I don't know how else to slice it for you. I can't tell really if this is your energy or this is somebody else's energy. For some of these, it's kind of like showing a mirror. One more. I think you are really ultimately called to come out of this, but I think you have had sort of a, you could have just been in a dark night of the soul for a little while. Okay. We'll do this one because this is the catalyst. Yeah. Okay. Seen and unseen energy surrounding you, group 2. Okay, first thing off the bat is that I feel like you are kind of a loner, a bit of a, I just feel like you maybe don't have a whole lot of really deep connections around you and in your life. Yeah, like not very many at all even. Especially with this orphan card. The orphan and the wolf card kind of exists in this same space. Now, let me just back this up a little bit, group 2, because I'm not saying that you don't have a lot of connections. I think actually you have a lot of connections. I think you give a lot to yourself. Like, hold on, I'm being backed up on that. You give what you feel comfortable giving to. Sometimes it's like presenting as like being really wordy doesn't exactly mean that you're giving a lot of information. I don't know how that explain that, but you have a lot of acquaintances, a lot of connections, and it's like there is energy around you that like watches you like a hawk. Does that make sense? It's like everything, every little thing you do, they're kind of just dissecting. Or you could be in that energy yourself. You could also operate that way. But I think for a lot of you, it's like there is energy that is like, it's like waiting to attack. A lot of these, they're very predatorial kind of, or you could be in a predatorial space yourself. I do feel though that there is a lot of burden in this space, a very like the perfectionist thing is coming out with this energy that is here. Hold up. I wasn't really having a whole lot of issues with my back until I got into your energy. So I do feel like it's a little bit of a burdensome space. Let's spray some of this Palo Santo. it's hard to ground into this energy. It's difficult to center myself in this energy. It feels like this would be a real... It's like a disconnect from the emotional body. Honestly, it feels very like kind of just moving through life a bit without really having, it's I don't know how many real deep connections that you have around you. I would say that there is probably very few very deep connections that you have in your immediate environment, is what I'm going to assume based on the energy that is surrounding you. So right now I feel like this energy is sort of like, how do I want to explain this? I just heard I know so few people are going to know any Acid Bath songs, but I just heard this, like, something about the catacombs. But I was seeing, there's a scene, I don't know, what the hell movie is that? They fall into this pit, and there's like there's this like sludge, okay? This is so morbid. Where are we going with this? There's this like sludge in this bottom of this pit, right? And these creatures that like live in here, they're kind of like zombies or whatever. They just start grabbing onto these people, and they start climbing. They try to climb out. I don't know what movie this is from. And they're climbing out of it to get away from these things that are grabbing hold of them in the sludge. And that's kind of the energy that we have in this phase, is like there are people that want to control what you are doing, where you are going, who you are with, and or you have a controlling energy. It's one of these others. I hate to say it that way. This is why being a reader is so difficult for me, because we do not fluff in this space. I don't know how to deliver a message without being frank. That's just not me. However, I do think that this is something that you are waking up to, or this is like some kind of radical change that you are intended to go through. You are presenting as very isolated, which is so interesting, because I don't know that you necessarily would see it that way. In some capacity, it seems like this is something that is like, it's like you are kind of aware of feeling this like orphan space, but not aware of just how few really connecting relationships that you have in your within your vicinity. I really don't know if we have 5D energy connected into this reading right now, because I said that we're doing seen and unseen energy. The energy that you've been sitting in and dealing with in your life is pretty toxic. Honestly, it's like a toxic. That's the word that we're gonna go with. Okay, toxic is not the right word, because toxic is just made up. It's just not. It really is good or bad. You know, it's negative or positive. And this is energy that weighs you down and makes you feel a certain way about yourself, is what it means. It's not toxic. It's just that's a buzzword. So how would these energies operate? Okay. It's like so some of them could like leech off you in some capacity, be very dependent upon you. Really? Okay, so what's interesting for you, Group 2 is I actually feel like this energy over here is you. And this energy over here is the outside world. And how they kind of see you. It's really odd because I don't think they see you in how you are actually. This is difficult. This is a very, how do I want to explain this? This is a really closed off energy. This is not an energy that is easy to access. This is not an energy that is going to be super emotional. This isn't somebody who's going to just like come out and say, there's a lot of armor in this space. There's a lot of perfectionism, a lot of control, self-control. And this is like it's really surprising to me, honestly, that the turtle didn't come out, because it would remind me, it would be reminiscent of that, where there's like a hard shell. But I do think that you are having an awakening. I do think that you're going through something where you're seeing things a little bit more differently. And I think it's like seeing sort of how closed off to deeper and more meaningful connections that you've really ended up in this moment. So anyway, okay, so here's the energies over here. There is some energy that they watch you like a hawk. There is some energy that wants to like just deplete you in some, I don't know if it's necessarily conscious, okay, but they just use you, okay? And other energy, it's like entrapment, honestly. It's like they want to trap you or want to like pull you into their web. I don't know what the hell. This is super fun. This reading is exactly why I love tarot. Yeah, this is just the fun stuff. Energy, man. I'm going to see if there's energy in your 5D. Because I don't think that's coming in here. Where the hell? Oh. I was like, what did I do? What's the 5D energy surrounding this person like? What do they have going on in there? That's a very childlike energy. I don't know if that makes sense to you in any capacity. That came through and it represented to me like a child or some kind of innocent energy. Very protective energy around you in the 5D. So okay, it's like it's like this is reminding me like of a mama bear. This beaver wants to come out. I don't know what this, maybe an energy of like, this could be somehow connected to your higher self too, a little bit, I'd heard. Okay. This energy here reminds me of like a mama bear. It's coming through like that, like this protective, yeah, it's like this protective energy that is kind of existing around you. There's another energy that, it's weird because I really don't consider sharks docile, okay? But for some reason it's presenting as like there's like a docile energy that would be out for blood, like it's very, very, very protective. I don't know if these two are connected, if it's like a duality between these two, and that the child is like representative of you, but there's an innocent sort of energy of some sort that is in sort of it could be your inner child. Yeah, this is really interesting, okay, group 2, because in the first phase, I feel like there was a lot of connected energy into the 5D. In your reading, I feel like it's like purposely focused on the 3D energy, excuse me, because it's like this energy right now is just not really that important somehow. I'm sorry. Well, these go over here. This energy here, these I feel like are you. So let's put these over here. This is other energy. This is your energy. That's how it's coming through. It's like you have some sort of relationship with that is maybe disconnected from your inner child. You could deal with that by being a bit of a busybody or a workaholic, or just being of service, or like building I really do feel like you're going through something here, group 2, that's pretty heavy, or there's a situation that you're going through that's very heavy, or like a moment. But this moment that you're going through, this thing right now that's happening in the 3D, it is like life-changing in some capacity. This is a big moment, because I think you've been really dealing with a certain type, like maybe operating or even dealing inside a certain type of energy that is really heavy, and it really weighs you down, and in some ways it can actually bring out the worst part of you. I know you probably don't want to hear it that way, and I'm sorry, but that's just the crocodile here, you know, is just, you know, okay, so it's coming through like reptilian, like being kind of cold to situations or people or things that you're dealing with, and not really, just really keeping emotions at bay, very at bay. And it's kind of inviting you, I would say the most innocent card that you have, or most innocent cards, are this like orphan card and the lamb card. There's something going on that like maybe is connected into to your upbringing that is surfacing in this moment, or is the reason for these behaviors, or the reason that we're in these situations. There's something kind of connecting in something that happened in that space that is kind of the, you know, the purpose of why it's like conditioning, or there's this disconnect even from that innocence or that childlike quality, or just maybe you had to grow up really quickly, and there's that possibility. Or maybe you didn't grow up quickly enough, you know, that's also a thing too. Like if you are, you know, scenarios that this applies to is like only children. I'm an only child, so I totally resonate into that. It took me a second. I'm still growing up, honestly. We are not there. So only child, maybe also the baby of the family. Those are other kind of scenarios I feel like would resonate, where you kind of were in either of those, and it's, you know, maybe it's taken a moment to move into maturity. Other scenarios are, you know, as someone who if you have any kind of neurological disorder, brain development, like they actually say that it later in you develop later, like the brain development, so maturity and things like that will develop later, not until you're like, you know, like for ADHD, I have ADHD, and they say it's like 35, which is like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I've only been 35 for 4 years. For 4 years. Yes, I just never, I'm 39, but I was, you know, I'm like, I've only, according to this, then I've only been mature for 4 years, and I don't even feel like it's been that. So, I mean, this could be like it's time to grow up thing. It's time to connect into your inner child. There's something that's kind of connected into this. Man, I really hope this resonates. Ooh, it's a little bit heavy. Not gonna lie, I do feel like there is a need, honestly, in this space for you to really form a really good, solid bond with somebody that is like, that cares about you, that supports you. To find a hype team member might be a really good idea in this space, because I don't think you have that. I don't think you genuinely have like very solid connections, and some of the connections you have, it's like they're dependent upon you. It's like you're the only thing that you're really getting from them is being of service to them. So you're not getting anything from them. They're just depleting you. And then if you needed them, they're not there for you in the same way that you would be for them. And they can't, you know, for a lot of them, they can't. And that's sort of like, it's a little bit of a savior complex, honestly. And team savior complex, I'm right there with you. I want to save the world. I know how that is. I think a lot of us that go through certain things actually go through that moment where we do have a savior complex, where we just want to fix people and fix things. And I think this is really inviting you to fix what's going on within self and say, you know, fuck it to those people, honestly, and really start choosing yourself. But something, anyway, existing into the space, I think that would be a good idea, and that would be helpful in this environment, would be to find someone on a hype team. Hype team is like somebody who is like your cheerleader. They support you, really, without you having to really, you don't have to give them anything. They just love you. They just care about you. They check in on you. They're there for you. They're very supportive of you. This also teaches you empathy. It teaches you compassion. It teaches you nurturing, just by having somebody who is just nurturing you and very present for you. So, you know, building some kind of friend, finding someone that you can actually legitimately trust with your emotions, because I think that that's the big issue existing in this space here for you a bit, group 2, is that it feels like the absence of being able to trust your emotions with another person. And so if you find someone that you can legitimately trust to open up to, and that can help you through this, I really do think that person, or a person in there that you know is like, they're not going to go running their mouth behind you. They're not going to manipulate you. They're not going to put you down. Like, they're going to love you for who you are and your authenticity. And more importantly, we can't build deep connections without trust and authenticity. So that's very important. Okay. Let's see what the message is for you. If this, like, that energy that was kind of fixated on your 3D space, if they have a bit of something to provide you. Let's burn one of these little bad boys. I do feel like that was, I feel like there is some energy that, there is some nurturing energy around you that really doesn't want you to go through this, that would like to kind of cushion the blow for you, but at the same time seems to be very in an awareness that you might need it. Like, you might need a wake-up call, I guess. A wake-up call? I don't know if that's the right sentiment here, but might need to understand that closing yourself off to emotions is like it's really isolating yourself from being able to form meaningful connections. And we don't want that, especially if you're you know, you're a parent, especially. You don't want to have that kind of relationship with your children. And like, if this is the energy around you, you know, and that could even be in that lamb-like stuff, is like going like, hey, your children need you kind of thing too. Like, they need you to be, if you have children, I mean, some of you I feel like aren't going to resonate with that at all. Message, self-control. Shadow self, though, is something that come through there. Is like, there's something in my shadow. You listen to Tool. That is sort of needing to come to the surface. Nurturing is coming into this space. Nurturing self, abundance. But this is more about, yeah, I feel like you maybe might resonate into this Page of Cups energy, where it's like you are not, like, emotions are kind of like, we'll just deviate from that. It's like, we're not going to be affectionate. And it's like, I think that what they're inviting you here, or what the message is like, why is that? Like, seek the why to try to figure out, why is it that you feel this? Why is this burdensome to you? Why do you struggle so much with like giving emotion to others? And how much of that is holding you back from being able to have balance in your life? I do feel like that's kind of the overarching message, honestly. Let's see. Anything else comes in there? I feel like this is kind of probably a reading that we might need a disclaimer on, because I don't think most people are, when, you know, for tarot, it tends to be a space of entertainment for a lot of us, and we're not really anticipating walking into a reading and getting slammed with, you know, taking all the facades out and all the cushions and all the, you know, coddling, I guess, that exists in tarot. I think a lot of tarot is actually inauthentic. And that, you know, that's bullshit. Let's like be honest, like that's bullshit. That's not how the world works. The world is not always sunshine and rainbows. And in this space, while there is a positive aspect to this, in that understanding this could help you build awareness on self and to help you to grow into more meaningful connections. And that's really positive, honestly. But, you know, sometimes we tend to be those among that collective of people who likes to learn things the hard way. And this is kind of a moment in that as well. And I think for some of you, this is not news to you. It's not like you're hearing something that you're like, oh, that's surprising. I think you do know. I think you're very aware that this is something that you struggle with, and that this is something impacting your relationships with others. And rather than be in a space of trying to twist this any other way than how it is reading realistically, I would rather, you know, just deliver it how it is intended to. It's a difficult, you know, position for me to be in. It's kind of a double-edged sword, because sometimes I feel like, well, this is the kind of reading that people are going to be like, well, I ain't ever going to her again, you know, but it is what it is. Either way, I think that this will really help you. If you do need someone to talk to about some of this stuff, and it's easier for you to talk to somebody who doesn't really know you that well, you're more than welcome to send me an email at the Temporal Taurus at outlook.com, and you can do so anonymously. So if you want to talk about it and want to talk about things that you're going through, we can definitely hash it out. And I can tell you how I navigated through some of this. I've actually been in this space where I was really kept everybody at bay as well, and then I built some really meaningful connections that helped me out of that. So we can work together. If you resonated with this and you feel comfortable, group 2, let me know. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, all of the things. Any activity that you provide my page helps tremendously. Do you know a biker? Because that seemed important to be right in your reading. I don't know if you heard that, but there was a motorcycle right outside my door, or right outside my window. But that is your reading, group 2. Thank you so much for being here. Enjoy the rest of your day. Oh my gosh. Group 3. I have to, like, whenever I tap into your group so far, since I've been back in group 3, it's like immediately something comes in before I even get to your cards out on the table. And I heard Monty Python's fishy, a fishy, and it went wherever I did go. When I pulled up your card, because your top card was the fish card, and that is just humorous to me, because it feels like you're a really adaptable person and very fluid right now in chasing Oh, okay, that song came in. Your group is so musical, by the way. The song that came in is like, it's gonna be a good life. You may be a Pisces too. That's something else that's coming in as well. But your energy is so playful. And I do think you have a sense of humor. Now, I'm gonna hit you on this, is that I think that this energy, this hyena energy, is like using humor to kind of deflect in some capacity, but also like you're very balanced. I don't know. Okay, energy, let's go in. What is the unseen and seen energy surrounding? Here you are with that warrior again. You're really somebody, I think, that takes lessons and learns them. Like you're very, it's like if you are young, you're an old soul, or you're like there, you know, it's just really interesting. Okay, what else do we got here? What else for this space? I keep feeling like the energy of my son, my oldest son, who is just so wise for his. He's just definitely an old soul. And that's the energy that I'm kind of being invited to sort of pull from, is like how his energy is. Right now, I don't feel like you have any 5D energy right on the board here. In terms of like energy around you, I'm not seeing that. This is kind of energy in your 3D. So in the physical world around you. Twins here again. Yeah, this is another, like, if you're not a Pisces, you may have Piscean energy in some way. I mean, you could be in a yin and yang space, and here's also this like collaboration, this captain. You could be in a very meaningful connection. Again, like this has come through a few times. Okay, so this fish energy, I feel like is very, I feel like honestly, okay, I don't feel, this is weird, honestly, group 3, because every space has been really different, but in your space, it's like the last 2 spaces have really been about your energy in particular and less about the energy around you. We'll get into the energy around you in a second, but this is all you. Everything on the board right now is all you. So what we have here is just a really adaptable energy. I think you really go with the flow. Now, there's some element here of like this going with the flow that could trip you up a little bit, in that you perhaps aren't always comfortable leading, and I think you are kind of moving into a leadership role in this space right now in this moment, or wanting to, or being in that kind of energy. I think you are very playful, very humorous, and also very quick-witted. Now, I do think that because, like, here's the thing, I think you present like very how do I want to say this? I feel like you maybe come off and present very just chill, kind of copacetic, really. But beneath that, there's a lot going on beneath the surface, which makes sense with that Piscean energy, right? There's an ocean in there. And I think that that's something that is, like, you have all of this and you're able to really analyze and decipher scenarios and situations, and then come out with like a very all-encompassing perspective on the situation and the scenario, and you're able to decipher what is really worth giving. It's like what's really worth battling and what is not worth your time at all is kind of the thing. And the reason that you have this, the reason that you have this mindset, and the reason that you have this approach to the world is actually because of a whole lot of depth that you have that maybe isn't necessarily quite as known or apparent, or it's not like you're wearing that armor on the outside. It's like you, and not only that, it's not impacting you internally either. These are things that you have been through, that you have went through, that you use to decipher and understand the world around you. There's that. Haven't had a pestering anything this whole reading, and then here we are. Someone curious peeking in on you. Now, there is sort of this deflective nature here that is existing a little bit in this space here with the self-protection and dual natures and running away from problems is something that's coming up. I think that you might be currently in this space and being invited to be a bit more assertive. So it's like almost like there is energy sort of inviting you to be a bit more assertive. Now, what's interesting about your energy is that you are very well rounded in this. It's like if I were going to pinpoint life paths, you know, because you know how they say like that elephant just came out here. Yeah, this makes a lot of sense too. Being very wise, you know, and this, again, the elephant has been through things. They've lost a tusk and they're still a very peaceful creature. It's like, if I were going to say like you've had several life paths or whatever, then in my opinion, this would be one of your last ones. Like if you've been here before kind of thing, like you have lived out lifetimes before and now you're coming in and like you as an energy changes the mold of things that came before you. You could be somebody who's in a position that is breaking generational trauma that exists within your lineage. You could be somebody who, it's like the buck stops with me kind of thing, where you do not let those things it's like those things for you that you have gone through have built your character into who you are today, and you don't see them as I don't know why I just seen Boy Scouts, but like Scouts honor. But yeah, it's like you don't see them as badges of honor, really. It's kind of more so of an acceptance, and really understanding, okay, that this is the reason that I am here and the reason that I have, like my perspective on how I see things is actually what has built my thick skin. But again, like there's a lot of depth underneath there. And I don't think that every person that meets you is I think they're gonna see you in a very surfaced space. But realistically, like you have such a quick mind, you have so much depth to you emotionally, and are able to really decipher things. Okay. Decipher situations and scenarios that you're presented with, or things that you have been through, and you're able to, you know, just like being called one time, like I was talking to my son about something, and he was like, well, you need to give that person a little bit of space to, you know, make a transition, to make a change. And I was like, what? You're 16 years old and you're saying something like that. You know, it's like, but it's like that kind of stuff is like having that kind of awareness that is like just embedded in you. And it's through kind of really understanding situations and scenarios and being very open and receptive to change and open and receptive to learning. Yeah. Also this owl came off, like just very wise, honestly, a really wise energy. Okay. And with the twins thing here too is, and you have had a lot of connection cards. You could be actually in a connection where, like, if this energy sounds a lot like you, it can also sound a lot like the person that you are in a connection with. Like you two kind of mirror one another, or you are very similar to this and you both kind of operate in this space and have sort of this kind of innate bond because of how similar you are. You have this twin energy here. And dare I say twin flame, but you know, I feel like those are rare. If it is a twin flame, okay, how you're going to know it's a twin flame, in my opinion, is that you will operate at all times from a space of love with this person and have unconditional compassion for them. You'll never put them down. You'll never, you know, you always operate from really caring about that person, even if you mess up, even if you slip up and you do something that maybe doesn't come from a space that's really the most compassionate. You're willing and accountable to hold yourself for your actions like that. I feel like that would be twin flame energy. Okay, in your 5D, what do you have going on in 5D? So this is like unseen energy that would be in sort of the spirit space around you. What do we have going on in that energy? Oh, this is interesting because I think that this is such a weird analogy, group 3, but I think that you are a guide in more ways than you think. And you, like, your prominent energy surrounding you is like the higher version of self. As crazy as that sounds. But it is sort of your higher self really navigating this in order to, it's like you're the oracle, you're the prophet, you're the one, and this is, I'm not to inflate your ego here too much, group 3. But yeah, it's kind of coming into this space of being like your higher self is like the most prominent energy. What other energy is existing in that? This is... Again, okay, it's just, it doesn't really want to get into that for some reason, okay? Because again, this like song that came out was blackbirds singing in the dead of night, take these broken wings and learn to fly. This is really a moment for you that you are sort of your guide in all spaces. It's very like the most prominent thing that you have around you in your energy is the energy of like soaring through, paving your own way and creating your own path and taking command and building into a space. And those that you work with around you that have the energy that is around you that you connect in with the most is this energy. So it's not really talking a whole lot about like anyone who's passed on or any of that kind of energy being in your space. This is very much a moment where the most prominent energy is the energy existing within you and your higher selves. And then the energy that you are most connected into operates very similarly to this. I hope that makes sense, because that was really difficult to read. Okay, let's see if I get you a message. Now there is some sort of like motherly energy here, okay, that is somehow connected into you as well. I just got that coming out of this, like there's so there is that as well, but it's just not as prominent as this kind of energy that is within self. All right. Let's see. What is the message here for group 3? What do they need to know? I feel like this is going to be a message from your higher self. Okay. Okay. Look at the big brain on bread. You may struggle a bit with a little bit of imposter syndrome here, group 3. You may not understand like how okay, we're gonna do all of these. Okay. Hold up. Okay. My brain cannot do that many things at the same time. Get out of here. Magician on the bottom of the deck. Okay. I don't know what the heck I was just saying because I got way tripped up here. Oh, I think that it is about navigating your inner strength and the building into self, our courage and confidence within self. Because there is this air of having a little bit of imposter syndrome, of like doubting things, even though you have these things around you, like this energy around you that really confirms that for you. I think there's some other things that really have, you know, obviously you have this warrior status. Obviously you've been through some things to put you into this current moment that you are in, and through the things that you have been through, that can also inadvertently create some layers of doubt. And so it feels like it's like it feels like you're kind of like there's some things that you still have to learn, and you're kind of in an awareness of that. And one of those, I think, maybe major tackles or battles that you might have is these moments of self-doubt, or even in some capacity not having ownership of those things too, of pride, because pride's something that comes up a little bit when strength is in reverse. And also having some sort of, this has come up twice in your read, there's some sort of regret, there's some sort of situation that clarify the okay, oh sorry, I feel like the Fool actually clarifies that. Is like you may hold yourself back from sort of like taking risk or jumping forward or moving into a new space. There's something with temperance coming out here as well. I do feel like you're in something that you have going on. This came through in your last reading as well. It's like you are sort of being invited, or you are learning that you need to take ownership of this thing, and you need to be in a position in which you are leading in some capacity and being assertive and taking action in some element that you have going on. And that this is part of this that is sort of tripped you up or kept you from kind of in this forward momentum, is these spaces that are of self-doubt, or holding oneself back, and really having you can be very critical of self, and so you may have like just some disappointment surrounding that. And what's interesting though is that you have these union spaces around you. Clarify the Tower for that, lovers. I don't know if these are connected necessarily. I don't honestly see that the Tower is always a bad thing. So you could just be going through something where there's been like a lot of emotion that has been brought into a certain situation, and there's some sort of clarity that is needed in that space. It's very vague for some reason. It's not like cut and dry here. I think that there could be some of you in this collective where it's not entirely about a relationship, and some of you it's about a relationship with self, and it's about your relationship really with bringing emotion forward. And for others of you, it's like also this confirmation that of taking a leadership role within a connection, or that you have this union space that is something is shifting, okay, in your awareness, or as a result of this connection. Like this connection could have really been the catalyst for your growth too. That could be a lot of like why some of these things may be surfacing, is as kind of a result of the feelings that you have developed within this space and within this connection as well, is something else. So there's kind of like a new beginning brewing here, and it is surrounding some emotions. Now, I don't think that You know, I think that your union space that you had yesterday was like reminiscent of, you know, being in a connection that is fulfilling. But that Five of Cups came up in yesterday's reading as well, surrounding connection. So I do think that there's some element of grief or some doubt, some regret that is existing in that space a little bit. I'm not entirely sure what that is, but it seems to be connected to some sort of risk, some sort of opportunity, even something, ooh. Some kind of clouded judgment. There may have been a situation or a scenario within this connection, and I saw this yesterday as well, with like some sort of choice that was made, or some sort of decision that was made, or some sort of information that was brought forth that is somehow impacting this union and this relationship. What is going on here? Because the Ten of Cups is on the bottom of the deck. It's almost like a space of self-sabotage a little bit. It's like you've reached an element within this connection that is a little bit more serious than it was previously, and now it's like really coming down to terms with it, but there's some sort of element of regret. What's going on? What is going on in this connection? What is going on in this connection? What is going on? Okay, so you have the sun coming out, so it's like everything is good. But yeah, it does seem like a bit of self-sabotaging a little bit. It's like everything is going good, but there's some sort of like, clarify this. Your guys' space the last 2 days has been really confusing for me, honestly. I hope this makes sense for you, because I am lost in the sauce. Clarify the Nine of Wands. Some sort of burden. Need to collaborate. So you have coming out the Ten of Wands, the Page of Swords, and also the Three of Pentacles. I think my children are home. So this is like building upon something. I feel like it's just a new beginning, and then feeling like there might be a lot of weight on you, feeling like you have to hold on to something here in this space. And it's almost like you have doubt for some reason, but everything else is copacetic. Like everything else leading up to this point is like, it's sort of, it just feels like a hiccup, honestly. It doesn't feel like a major issue. And I think that's why it's so confusing, because energetically it just feels like, not it feels like a minor hiccup. It's like I think this is like a roadblock a little bit, where whatever is going on, you still have the foundations of this connection. You still have the thing that you have built into this space, and it's going to push you forward. And this small moment of feeling burdened by whatever is being presented in front of you, even though it's causing you a bit of grief, it isn't going to impact the situation as a whole. I hope that makes sense, because that was a difficult one. All right, group 3, please let me know in the comment section if this resonated with you. Please like this video if it resonated, as that helps the channel tremendously. And if you would like to stick around for more readings and you have not yet subscribed, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for being here, group 3. Enjoy the rest of your day.